I'm here with Adrian Illingworth, a level 5 ASCA certified coach and program director in Portugal. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Greetings from a rainy and foggy Portugal.
Greetings from a very, very snowy Indiana. How did you get into swimming?
I think I was quite a late comer to swimming. So, I mean, I had asthma as a kid. My parents put me into learn to swim classes, learned to swim, and then I didn't really revisit swimming until I was in my mid to late 30s. I was always a runner and mountain running and track and field, and I got injured. And I was living in Egypt at the time, and there was a program, a swimming program there, a master's program, and it was a very, very social group. I mean, and I joined that. My wife and myself joined that one. It was amazing. There was a fantastic coach, and both me and my wife must have been at least 20 years younger than anybody else on the program at that time. I mean, there were people in their 80s on the program, who had been great swimmers, and that's what got me hooked, basically. And then got the bug, started swimming a lot, and then wherever we moved around the world, to China or Thailand or other places, I was always involved in some kind of master swimming, either setting up a group or finding groups. And it's always been a great way to keep fit, competition, and a fantastic social opportunity.
That's really cool. So you've been all around the world. How did you get into coaching? Or was there a specific place that started?
It all really started in Bangkok, in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
I coached track and field before in China, and my daughters were both studying. They were both learning to swim in Bangkok at an amazing school called Bangkok Dolphins, a huge school at various venues, and they were working there. And then one day we found out that one of the coaches was leaving, who was also called Adrian, and the director said, "Would you like to do it?" Because I think my personality kind of fitted. I think if you have to sum up Bangkok Dolphins, it's like you don't have to be mad to work here, but it helps. And It was the most fun place to look. It was a bit of a cult. People used to come, parents used to come. It was a really great social vibe. Yeah. The kids used to have an amazing time. I mean, fun was at the center of everything. And they invited me in and gave me training, and he said, "Look, yeah, great, we'd like you to join." And then I was traveling all across kind of central Bangkok, riding on my bike to different locations, whether I was teaching parent and baby classes, or school age learn to swim, or development squads. It was very varied, but it was an amazing opportunity, and it was such a great. Again, it was the fun. I don't know who was having more fun, to be honest, me or the people in the pool. So, yeah. and then we spent 6 years in Thailand, and then I moved to Singapore. And purely serendipity, I was looking for a gymnastics class for my daughter. Called a school there, Singapore American School. Spoke to somebody in the office, and they said, "Oh, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm a swim coach." And they said, "Great, we're looking for one." Came in, chatted, and hit it off with the team, and then ended up working there. Then took over the swim school, and then stayed there for 6 years. So that's how I got into it. So run the swim school and the development squads, and basically it's been very, very much about being fortunate.
Yeah, that's really cool. At what point did you get into Swim America as your Learn to Swim program?
It was in the Singapore American School, very big school, big American community. And my colleague there said, "What do you think if we've got all these people coming from America, they go back to America, and they might go back for summer, or they might, once they leave the school, they might go back. What about we use something that was familiar to them?" Mm-hmm. We thought, yeah, it was a little bit of a no-brainer. And it was very easy to set up as well. So I was speaking to Karen, and we had various calls. So that was the reason, basically. So people were familiar with it. Oh yeah, great, from America, we're familiar with that. Because obviously, how many people have learned from America over in the States? And obviously, we got an opportunity to let the other members of the international community join and learn it. And it was such an easy program to set up. I had a team of about 14 coaches, but it was so easy to introduce. And everybody became really familiar with the levels, and there was, it became less subjective, I think. It became more objective. Everybody was familiar with the advancement goals, and it just made it a much easier way to discuss who needs to move up, who needs to work on this leveling, and then which station should people be in. So it was really good. Rather than we had a very creative swim program before, covering a lot of similar skills, but this made it just nice and easy to follow. A little bit like coaching by numbers, which was great because it also meant that we had people that were fantastic communicators, very creative, but they'd never taught swimming before. This is quite an easy kind of turnkey approach for them to come in and go, right, okay, they're really fun. They get the kids love them. And then we could show them that, okay, these are what we're looking for. And then you could teach the teachers to teach. And it was a very easy program to follow. I mean, we didn't go very high up the stations. We probably got to level 7 or 8. But by that time, we were able to offer our swimmers another pathway, which was to go to development squads, which was always the goal. And we had about 250, 300 swimmers.
Oh, wow.
So we built the bottom of the pyramid was the learn to swim. And then we would move people up. And then once it's much easier to obviously fine tune strokes in a small class environment.
Yeah.
And then we'd offer them the opportunity. And that was where people wanted to go and then move up through our Eagles program. That's
really cool.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we did have the luxury of having 3 swimming pools as well.
Yeah.
That made
that definitely helps having that many kids.
Certainly does, yeah. And it was a year-round program. So we constantly got people coming in, and new swimmers all the time. So we're doing evaluations, or big evaluations, probably 3 times a year.
Oh, wow.
So that's 70, 80 people come in at a time. So the problem was,
wild.
even with 3 pools, we still struggled for space within certain levels, because you'll know there's like a bell curve of usually around level 3s, 4s, and 5s, and you get the most swimmers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was how I kind of got into it, really, and it's been great, and the support's been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm so glad.
ED meetings that we have, the program director meetings are great. Just a nice community.
Awesome. So, on a similar note to community, you have coached, worked, lived in all of these different amazing countries. Have there been any differences in the teaching, how you teach swimming, the attitude towards swimming, or anything like that you've experienced?
I think only recently, now I'm in Portugal, but it's the first time I've really coached indoors or taught indoors, which has been interesting because the thing I like about it is, you can run the class. Because being in other places like Singapore is like the place that has the most lightning. So we're coaching outdoors, and you might lose 30% of your time due to the elements.
Yeah,
but that's been quite nice in terms of the environment. I mean, it's amazing when you're able to coach outdoors and it's beautifully warm weather, but suddenly the lightning alarm goes off, and then it's everybody out as quick as you can, and then you're doing your improvised dry land activities, often finding what space available that's dry and safe. I think that's been one of the things that I've enjoyed. Is it's beautiful to coach outdoors, but the elements don't always work in your favor. I've always worked with very international communities, so this has been fantastic for me, picking up new language and practicing very badly other languages, but it's been a great way. So again, you have to fine tune your coaching style. A lot of great, your demonstrations improve because you can't necessarily communicate verbally. So I think that's been quite nice as well. And again, probably teaching 30, 40, 50 different nationalities.
Oh, wow.
It provides its challenges, but also it's just a great opportunity to experience and interact with different cultures. And some cultures come from more of a swimming background and some don't. So you find that you're often meeting swimmers or people who are learning to swim earlier in their swimming journey from some countries, and in other countries where it's maybe not prioritized or they've not had the opportunities, you're meeting them much later in their life. So and again, we are, as swimming teachers and coaches, we are like stepping stones. You in a station, you teach them this, you let them enjoy that level, you pass them on to another coach. They might move up on the performance pathway, but you're laying the foundations for whatever comes in, and not necessarily just the foundation in swimming. It's just
Yeah.
connecting them to being active and active and involved in some sport. And
Yeah.
obviously, swimming is probably one of the most important lessons you can learn. So,
Yeah, for sure. How has the education you've received from ASCA without the certifications helped you as a coach in all these different countries?
I think it's been very useful because there's been a lot of other people that have done the similar qualifications, and it's the thing I noticed was, I mean, when I was looking to get more certifications, it was quite difficult to do it remotely without having to go back to certain countries. Like, for example, I'm British, but so I'd have to, at the time, I'd have had to go back to do qualifications in the UK, whereas I could do them without having to take a 12-hour flight. So, and being able to do that in, for example, in Singapore or in I could do some Australian qualifications when I was in Bangkok, but to do the more coaching qualifications was easier to do remotely or online with Karen and the team when I was based in Singapore. So I've loved that accessibility, and also to be able to give the people who are coaching in the team the same opportunity. So I knew the qualifications, they could do the qualifications. So whether they were doing their level 1 or level 2 ASCA, or whether they were doing their Swim America qualifications, we were all kind of essentially singing from the same hymn sheet. So
yeah.
And it's nice to support the other teachers as well. So that you're all coaching to the same goals.
Yeah.
And then you can explain the same thing, and the resources are available. So it's like, you can go have a look at this if you want, or the coaching manuals. You can say, we can have a look at this. And if we were doing our own PD, then we'd ask somebody to look at how we're gonna work on breaststroke kick this week or something. Okay, anybody got any ideas? What would you like to do? What are common problems? And the good thing is there's lots of common problems and fixes in the manuals.
Yeah.
So there's a resource there that people can quite easily share.
Yeah, awesome. I want to call back a little bit something you said earlier. In Singapore, you were coaching in 3 pools. But now, as we talked about, you were only coaching in 1 lane.
Yes.
So can we talk a bit about some difficulties that you have with 1 lane?
I am very, very fortunate to have 1 lane, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't believe how happy I was when I secured that. So when I moved to Portugal, it was just the end of COVID. Places were still not really opening up, and in the first year, I think I contacted 34 swimming pools.
Oh wow!
Nobody had anything, and they couldn't commit because they didn't want, the restrictions were going to fully lift. But they weren't at great times. If I got a lane, it was like 12 o'clock lunchtime, which wasn't useful for the Learn to Swim community. Yeah, because they're at school, so I needed something in the afternoons. So when in the end, it turned out to be the school that was the pool that was the closest to the school where I work. Yeah. And they were having a very extended renovation period. And I was calling every week, just checking, hi, hello, keeping the pot boiling. And then eventually, after about 3 or 4 months of just, making contact, they said, yeah, you can have a lane a day. I thought, oh, fantastic. And then they said, well, but the lucky thing was I don't have always have the same lane. Okay. So I've got the learner pool on 3 days. It's perfect for me to do it. It's deep enough to teach, anybody in, but it's been perfect for my younger swimmers. Yeah. And sometimes it's not always 1 lane. It could be 2 half lanes side by side. Okay. Which is good. So, if you've got
a bigger space.
8 swimmers, and I do work with another coach, Claudia. So it's great because we've got a male-female mix as well. So we've got a gender balance, which works perfectly if there's any issues, shenanigans in the toilets or anything in there. So that's really good. And I think the thing that really makes the 1 lane work is that the other coaches and the pool management, they're very, very flexible. So sometimes they'll say, oh, are you using say, for example, on the 2 days that I've got the 25 meter lane in the competition pool, they might say, are you doing anything in the deep end? And I say, no, I don't need to. I say, great, can we use it? And on other days, I might be doing something like treading water. They'll say, oh, well, okay, we'll do a swap. So there's this lane, but the lane moves. Okay. So if I'm doing diving, I want to go in the deeper end or want to use the blocks, for example, somebody will say, okay, I'll move mine across to this other lane. So I think that the collaboration really helps us maximize our use of resources.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
I mean, and at the end, it might be saying, we're going to do cannonballs, right? So they'll say, okay, well, we'll move here. You use the block, so we're going to play what we've got these mini water polo goals. We're going to do, shooting from midair or basketball hoops at the pool. So I think the thing that makes it work is that there's flexibility and collaboration between the other the coaches that work for the pool, and it's really makes a big difference.
No, that's awesome. Like having a community that you can work with well is so important for a program.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah. It really. I mean, it's one lane, but it's
one lane, quote unquote.
One lane. Yeah. And if we see a bit of empty space, we'll say, right, let's use that. Or, for example, if there's a transition between classes, and I've got the whole 25-meter pool, we'll just do over/under races across all the lanes and the lane lines.
That's cool.
So you just got to, if you see an opportunity, you've got to grab it.
Yeah. So how do you organize your lessons with only having quote unquote one lane?
Yeah.
How is it set up?
Well, most of us, the students at our school, I work at a school called OIS International School. It's a very international community. The students are very busy.
Mm-hmm.
So they might only have one day that they are available to swim.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is, when we've done our evaluations, we'll say, okay, right, we're going to try and do maybe say a level 3 and a level 4 on this day. And we try and keep them together similar in similar ages, because it's very social, and we want them to have fun, and they want them to have their friends there, so they feel like it's a social thing as well as a sporting educational opportunity. So we'll try and get them to come in. We'll group them. I'll speak to the parents, say, look, I could do it this time. Can you fit? And they'll say yes. And again, you might get somebody who's a level 3, but they're going to be a quick learner. Mm-hmm. So you might invite them to come on one day, but then in the anticipation that there'll be a level 4 fairly quickly. Yeah. So there's a little bit. We teach across levels, so we can split it because there's 2 of us. Mm-hmm. So if we might go one end of the lane, one end of the learner pool. We'll be working on some skills. The other end, we'll be working on something else, and then we'll bring them together for relays and races and games. And the same with the 25-meter pool. We can be doing treading water, or we might be doing back floats or something else, or recovering objects, or diving in the deep end. And then we might be working on other skills at the other end. We might be doing breaststroke kick by working on the wall. Yeah. So we just try and split it up. But again, I think the key thing that children's time is really precious. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we are quite lucky. We're close to the school, but it takes logistics to get people there. And we've got a lovely group where I just created a WhatsApp group, and I encourage the parents to ride share. Mm-hmm. So if somebody can't get there for school pickup, but they can get there for collection from the pool, they just work together. So it really takes a village, as they say, right?
It does, yeah. It really does. Like, get the most out of all the kids' times, yeah.
Yeah. And we've got a really good community at the school, and I think that really helps. There's always somebody looking to help people.
That's awesome.
I'm stuck in traffic. Okay, I'll pick them up. It's quite nice.
Do you run multiple 30-minute lessons each day, or how do you set up?
We have 45-minute slots, actually.
Okay. Nice.
So I've got 2 45-minute slots on a Monday, Wednesday. Okay. And that's in the competition pool. So I use that for the older swimmers, more or the higher levels. Mm-hmm. And then I'll do I've got 1 45-minute slot on the Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And that's where we'll bring our primary students, maybe starting at 6 years old. They'll come in on those days, but we just have one, because that's the really busy pool. That's the prime real estate that everybody's coming in at that time. And you see people queuing up for their lessons, and that gets very busy with the local community. So we are lucky we get in a little bit early before the real rush.
Yeah. No, it's
and they
that's nice.
45-minute blocks. And we don't keep them swimming for 45 minutes all the time, because we mix it up with games and other activities.
Yeah.
So no, that's, at least it's a decent chunk of time.
Yeah.
Unless there's a mishap in the pool with, say, a baby and parent class, everybody out. And then, unfortunately, I'm texting the group, say, sorry, there's been a slight accident in the pool, no class today.
We'll find another time you can come in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty flexible with makeup classes as well. I mean, I want my kids to be able to swim.
Yeah.
So if we have a slightly bigger class on one day, at least they're getting the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And how many kids do you have on average in each class?
It varies, but we got about 50 across the week.
Mm-hmm.
So on the busier classes, we probably got 12
Okay.
in one slot. We'll split it. And then in some of the other, we've got one class that's only got 2 in, just timing wise.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, like a private lesson because we've got coach, but it's such a great class because they really get on with each other. So
That's
boy
cool.
and a girl, they love to challenge each other. They love to take the mickey out of each other, and they're in the same year at school. So they come for a bit of social, and it's great because they get maximum attention, and we can really work on their swimming and also play games and build their fitness. So, but it's always there. I don't want to lose that slot. I want to keep the slot because we might get other people that want to come in at that time.
Yeah. You never know when people are their schedules are gonna change.
Yeah, just hold on to the slot.
Yeah.
Once you've got it, because it took us such a long time to get it in the first place.
Yeah. And I had such a good question in my head and I can't remember what it was gonna be. Oh, what are some of your favorite games you play with your swimmers?
Well, so I think I get more excited sometimes when we get a delivery at the pool. So 3-4 weeks ago, these huge boxes arrived. And I was like looking, what's in the boxes? And it was amazing. It was just before Christmas. And there were so many things. They'd been ordered since before COVID. But I mean, they really brought loads of things. I mean, I like to do, things like they're doing basketball slam dunks off the blocks. Or we've now got mini water polo goals where they've got to shoot and they've got to make it either go over the backstroke flags and go in, and they do that, or save the world, which I just play with dive sticks, and they've got to get to the bottom before it hits the ground. Hits the bottom.
Okay.
I mean, things like I think it's about telling a story when you're coaching, so you can do so many different activities in the same way. I mean, I like to do and this is something that came out of the Drills and Games book that I did when I was doing ASCA, and it's the different kinds of cars. So you're a drag car, you're a drag racer. What do drag racers do? They go super fast for a short distance.
Okay.
Then you're a stretch limo. What are stretch limos known for? They're super smooth and long, so you get them to work on different strokes. Then they've got like the Formula One cars. They turn really fast, so that works with tumble turns, and you're in and out from the wall. And then tow trucks, where that's my favourite, is where obviously car's broken down, or the vehicle's broken down, so somebody's towing the person behind, so it's arms at the front, legs at the back. So it's just little games. I mean, Christmas we'll put them. They'll wear fake antlers, and they'll have to. Even if they're running and pulling, they've just got to do it like a Santa's sleigh. Yeah. I mean, I'm also the meet director of a local swim club. It's an international swim club, like many nationalities. So it's part of a bigger league, a European league. And we'll do things like the 12 swims of Christmas, or basically it's a relay, but you've got to get the antlers across the pool. So I mean, I will just grab anything. We've got slides now, or turn it into like a little mini Navy SEALs course. They've got to do lots of people. I mean, it's all building skills and fitness and coordination.
Yeah.
So anything we've got basically. I love over/under races. If we're going over the lane ropes. Tag, stuck in the mud. Marco Polo, we don't play too much. But it's just anything that. And then if they say, "Oh, can we play flipper ball?" Sure, play flipper ball. I mean, it's a bit of voice and choice works wonders. If you're, if they've had a good class, or you can use it as a reward as well. Okay, if everybody can work on this, if we do very well, we try our best, then we'll do some flipper ball, or we'll do something else, or tag, or we'll do cannonballs, or. I think it's listening to your audience is the thing that keeps them coming back.
Yeah. And what is flipper ball?
Oh, flipper ball is just take a kickboard basically, and you've got a water polo ball, and you fire it on the wave. It gets a bit brutal sometimes, but we only use it with our older kids, and you just got to steer it around. I think basically sometimes it's me and Claudia, the coach, and they just kind of manhandlers and push us all over the place. It's like just putting our defences up and protecting ourselves. So
That's fun.
it's just like a water polo game, but they're not
Yeah.
throwing. That's got to control. And again, you're getting a good workout, pushing again.
hmm
We just try and create big waves and keep them from advancing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lots of different things. But they love the basketball jumping off the hoop. I make a little noodle hoop and I move it away. You can't see my arm, but I move it away, and they've just got to jump as much as they can. Again, building leg strength, building a bit of coordination. And sometimes you've got some little swimmers who are very, very nervous about. They think they're nervous about going in the water, jumping in the water, and suddenly you create a diversion through something else, a bit of a distraction, and they're away, and they say, "Do you realise how far you just jumped in, or how high you jumped in?" Oh yeah,
Like, no, I didn't. That's so fun.
yeah, yeah. So and yeah, it's just nice, and you give them crazy team names and whatever they call. So yeah, and they like to. They build their own little personas or
Yeah.
name their jumps and dives and everything else.
Yeah, we had one swimmer
Just adding
make
fun.
up a candy cane jump, but she was going like this to make a candy cane jump.
I like
Oh,
it when
yeah.
they try and do something. You say, "What was it?" And they say, "It was a kangaroo, obviously." Not like a kangaroo.
I'm like, I feel like a candy cane should go like this way, so it's more of the hook. But I don't know. That's just me. What do I know? I'm just a coach.
And what we think is one thing, they don't see it. I mean, I'll
Mhm.
say, "Okay, we're going to do an 11s position." They say, "That's not an 11s; it's a head sandwich." Like, so, everybody will look at things in a different way,
Yeah,
and then
I like the
you just
the head sandwich.
adapt. You adapt. Um, you adapt their ideas.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you can say that you see somebody doing one thing and you say, "Oh, actually, we'll use that idea
Mhm.
for something we want to teach."
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing like
Swimming's just
nothing
fun.
like stealing ideas from kids, is there?
Exactly.
Nothing's new.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, is there any advice you have for anyone who's starting up a new Swim America program?
I mean, the people I meet on the when we have our program director meetings, everybody is fun, and I think the key thing is it's got to be fun because there's a lot of kids leaving sports. They're not even coming to sports because various reasons. It might be might be gaming or whatever. They don't feel comfortable. I think you've just got to make it fun and get people there for the first time, and then keep them, connect them to sport. Again, like I was saying before, we are just stepping stones.
Mhm.
Whether they go to they stay in our chlorinated environment, who knows? But we want to keep them active.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're making a big difference in some communities, even in some families, because some families may not be swimming families, right?
Mhm.
And you might have some parents that never learned. But if you're able to, and sometimes you've got those parents that are fearful. I don't know how to swim. I want my child to swim. Sometimes they say, "Well, I'm too fearful. I don't want my child to swim." But if you can make inroads into that family, you're making a
Yeah.
difference. And also, we've had swimmers who've come in and the parents have loved it so much they wanted to do masters, adult learn to swim, so they can enjoy the water, safely with
Yeah.
their families. Because they were saying, there's nothing worse than going on holiday if they go to a resort. They know they can't necessarily
Right.
get in the water with their child. They get nervous if something goes on, but they also want to enjoy the water with them. They see them having
Yeah.
such a great time. So yeah, I would say main thing is keep it fun and keep it simple, and read the room.
Definitely.
It depends when you get your swimmers, but usually it's the end of a day and they're tired and they've been cooped up in the classroom. They're busy and their brains have been working overtime. I think you want to send them away with smiles on their faces,
Yeah.
or
I
feeling
like that.
not the fun, but also a sense of accomplishment.
Mhm.
And people excel at different stages in their lives, and some are quick learners, some make smaller gains, but little by little, they'll all get there. So it's a marathon, not a sprint, so they say.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.